Hi folks, welcome back to the channel. My name is Mooney, and I want to thank you for joining me today. So this episode we're going to do is going to be our second episode of the Franchise Wars. So if you joined me before, you know how this works. If you haven't, instead of counting down my favorites in each individual franchise, I'm ranking them the first episodes of each franchise versus the first episodes, the second versus the second, the third, fourth, and all of that. So keep the intro here short and sweet, and let's get to it. Alright, so number 4 out of 4 on my list for the second installments here is going to be the Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part 2. So, I'm not a fan of this one. The direction that they took it in, the attempts at a comedic zone, Chop Top I don't find to be funny. Stretch I don't find to be an interesting character. I don't find her to be a very good final girl. Jim Sedow's character, the cook, I don't really care much for him. I hate the mask. Jim Sedow did commercials and things locally before he got the first movie, and he came back for this one. He did okay in the first movie. He's quirky and interesting. In this one, I think he's on screen too much. I think he's given too much of a role in this one. And I just don't think he's a good enough actor to do it. Bill Moseley's Chop Top gets on my nerves so bad. The character isn't funny. I can't stand him. So it's not funny. The gore in it is strange. The phallic chainsaw, not a fan. That whole scene, yeah. So this one's number 4 on my list. Let's move on to number 3. Alright, so number 3 on my list is Halloween 2. Now, let me say, from here on up, Halloween 2, Nightmare 2, and Friday 2 are some of my favorites in their respective franchises. I really enjoyed these 3 movies. But for me, Halloween 2 is just not as good as the other 2. I don't enjoy it as much. Jamie Lee Curtis, it was shot a couple of years after the first one, and Jamie Lee Curtis cut her hair off, and they put a bad wig on her. And it takes place moments after the end of the first one, although it was shot, like I said, years later. She looks older. Donald Pleasance looks older. The wig is bad. Now, personally, I do like the part about where Jamie Lee Curtis's character, Lori, and Michael Myers are brother and sister. I think that's a very interesting twist. I love the end of it, the way it blows, the way that Loomis blows up the whole side of the hospital. I do enjoy this movie. I just don't enjoy it as much as I enjoy the other 2 on this list. I know that a lot of the Carpenter fanboys are losing their shit over this, if they actually get around to watching it, kind of thing. But yeah, I just don't enjoy it as much as the other 2. But that said, again, it has its little nitpicks, but they up the gore. The direction on it is really good. The writing for it, cinematography, the music, of course, John Carpenter's iconic theme song and score, ending the movie with Mr. Sandman, all that stuff I enjoy. Just don't enjoy it as much as the other 2. So what do you say we see what number 2 is? So number 2 on my list is A Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2. This movie has its issues. It really does. But the main thing that it really has going for it is it has the scariest Freddy of the entire franchise. Robert Englund in this one just knocks it out of the ballpark. Just leaps and bounds above the other Freddy portrayals. Because let's face it, Freddy is not a hero, he's a villain. And in this one, comes off as a villain. Yeah, they screwed around with the mythology. Yeah, the subtext, that's not really all that subtext. Those kind of hold this movie back. The body horror part of it doesn't fit the mythology that they had created before. It doesn't fit with what came afterwards. So it does kind of feel like a fish out of water as far as the continuity in the series goes. That said, however, it does feel like a Nightmare on Elm Street movie. Best Freddy of the entire franchise, bar none. I really enjoyed this movie, and I rank it pretty high when I do rank the franchises. So, yeah, that's my number 2. Y'all know what number 1 is, but let's get to it. Alright, so obviously on my list here, Friday the 13th Part 2 is my number 1 pick of the second episodes of the franchise. The final girl, Jenny, is probably one of the best in the series. I really like her. I like the actress. Most of the side characters are well written. The comic relief in this one is actually good, is actually funny. It doesn't go too far. Great kills. The guy in the wheelchair is a good actor. The wheelchair going down all those steps without dumping is an awesome kill, is an awesome effect. It is held back a little bit by the sack head mask. I'm not as fond of that one as I am the iconic hockey mask. But I do really enjoy this movie. I rank it in the middle. It does have some flaws for me, but it's a really good one in the series. And it's compared to these other 3 on this list, this is the one that I would watch the most. This is the one that I enjoy the most. The way that Jenny is written is probably the most developed final girl of the entire series. And that actress really is very good. The Jason is where it kind of loses me in the overall franchise. He's not as big as what we've come to know and love. I mean, he was great in the time, but as it's gone on, the other actors who have played him have been much bigger, much heavier. So, to me, the hockey mask and the bigger Jason is more iconic. Those are the ones that I go to first for the most part. But this one's a really good movie, and it is my number 1. Alright, so normally I would end the video here, but actually we're going to go ahead and do one more thing, so y'all stay tuned for that. Okay, so what I want to do moving forward with my channel, that's what this is. This is Coming Attractions. So I want to start doing 2 videos a week. I want to do a horror movie review on either Monday or Tuesday, depending on how it works out with the weekends and all. And then a vape video on either Thursday or Friday, depending on how the week goes. So that's my plan going forward. There's also going to be a special Top 10 countdown for Thanksgiving. I've got the list compiled, and I'm working on the bumpers and stuff from between the clips. So y'all keep an eye on the channel for that. I will be, no guarantees, but my plan is to do that one as a live premiere on the 25th of November. That will be the day before Thanksgiving this year. So the time for that, if it goes right and I can get it to do it, my computer's an antique, so we'll see how things go. But my plan is to do it at 7 p.m. Central Time, to do a live premiere of that one. The video will probably be it will probably be at least 30 minutes long, because again, it's a top 10 list. And I tend to prattle on about the movies. I'm not going to give away what the list is of yet, but it has to do with a few sequels. So let's hope that things go well where I can get these like this. So yeah, as always, my advocacy links and personal links are down in the description. That includes a Teespring. I have the Vape shirt. I also have one that's just the channel logo. If you're here for the horror movies, I have got a new design in my head, but I've got to work it out and get it up, so maybe a little bit on that one. But yeah, hit up my advocacy links, hit up my personal links, find me on Facebook, find me on Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxed. And as always, y'all be careful, y'all be good, and have a good one.